News Channel 5 at 5 begins right now.
Breaking news, firefighters battling this dangerous blaze at a biodiesel plant in Stuart. Exclusive Chopper 5 pictures live coming to you from the scene of this blaze between Dixie, as we look on, and Federal Highway, not far from Witham Field and Sanskrit Park. Huge traffic tie-ups because of this. We have live team coverage of the blaze, the evacuations, including the school traffic, and what Contact 5 investigators are learning. My colleague Kelly Dunn leading our coverage from Stuart. Kelly?
45 seconds.
Michael, it's been this has been a scene really you could see all over Martin County and into Palm Beach County, the big plume of dark smoke, and it's coming from down the street here. We're on Dominica here in Port Salerno in a part of Martin County. It was that Diesel Fuel company that had 4 of its 10,000-gallon tankers that blew today, caused a fire, also a big methanol tank as well. We are getting ready right now. We're going to be joining a live news conference with the Sheriff of Martin County, William Snyder, and also Dan Harshberger, the Martin County Fire Rescue Bureau Chief, to give us an update on exactly where the situation stands right now. And we'll be back to wrap it up as soon as they are getting ready right now. All right, Sheriff.
What we have right now is what we've been doing since about noon today. We have about 20,000 gallons of biodiesel fuel burning right behind my left shoulder here on the Dominica. The fire department's done a fantastic job trying to keep those flames down. Right now, the fire has laid down. It feels like we're getting it under control. We still have 3 blocks or so in here where we've evacuated. No traffic is allowed. US 1 is a mess. A1A is a mess. But we think we're going to be able to clear it up within the next hour or so.
Is there any worry about any kind of environmental damage, Sheriff?
Well, that was our first concern, biggest concern, and the reason for the evacuations, the reason we got the children out of the school was because of that smoke. Very, very dangerous, and our fear was that the flame spread. And you can see what it's done. It's come across the road here with the diesel fuel. Had that caught fire, we would have had a really big smoke cloud, and that's the reason we had such a wide evacuation.
And right now, these trucks that are coming by us, these big dump trucks, and I'm sorry it's going to be hard to hear you for a second, but we understand that they've been carrying dirt that's created a dike around this area.
Yeah, well, what's happened is the 20,000 gallons that was burning when the fire department had to put water on there, it caused the biodiesel to leak down onto the roadway and travel. And that's what they're trying to do now, is get that absorbed with some sand.
All right, might be a little tough to hear you. Mr. Harshberger, if you'd like to comment at all about your efforts with the fire rescue.
Right now, our primary concern right now is making sure that we keep containment of the product. We have stopped putting any water and foam onto the actual fire because we were worried about runoff. We had a significant amount of methanol and the biodiesel that had mixed with the water and had spread through the culverts. The Department of Environmental Protection is on scene to help monitor that activity as well. So right now, with the dump trucks and the dirt and the sand that they're bringing in, that is the primary concern, just making sure we can get it contained from actually traveling and hitting any of our waterways.
And what about surrounding businesses and people who may live? This is a predominantly, business, commerce area, commercial area. You've shrunken, I understand, your radius for your evacuation?
Yeah, just the east and west. Right now, from US 1 to Commerce is still the same. We've just shrunk it in by 1 street to the north and 1 street to the south. As far as the evacuation area.
And surrounding businesses, has there been any lingering danger to anybody else?
No, we had initially we had the Florida Power and Light, the power company, come in and shut down the entire grid for this area, just as a precautionary measure. Also, we've had to move the command post and the media station, basically move it further back due to the spread of the contaminant. But right now we're doing actually a lot better. It's going to die down quite a bit compared to what it was earlier.
Once it's out, and it does, I mean, every once in a while you see those flames again. I see some in the distance there. What will be the danger going into tomorrow, Sheriff, for the people in this area, the people that work in this area?
We'll probably have to keep a patrol car here all night, keep people away from it. I think once the fire's out, the immediate danger will be out, and then the cleanup will begin. We've got to get this biodiesel fuel off the street. It's very slippery. If you walk out there, you'll see it. It's like a vegetable oil is starting to congeal now, and it's really dangerous to walk on. You can slip. But the biggest fear was that the fire would get into that, follow a ditch line, and we would really have had a mess. Like the chief said, that fire has pushed us back all day. We were up closer. We've continued to move our command posts and our assets back. We have every available unit in the sheriff's office. 2 shifts are out here. There's not an available unit that's not here unless they're out on other emergency calls.
All right. Any other details, Sheriff? Or
no, we just want to make sure we thank the Sheriff's Office for all their help, the quick evacuation that we put in place, as well as once we put out for the 3rd and 4th alarm, the surrounding agencies, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, St. Lucie County Fire Rescue, for all the resources that came in to help us. So it's been really successful. Thank you.
And I know it's early, but you said earlier, I think, Sheriff, accidental is what we're thinking this
Well, we leave it up to the fire department.
Yeah.
We have no suspicion right now that there's any criminality. Of course, the marshal's office is in here. The fire marshal is here, and they'll check, and we'll get a report from them.
And Chief, for our viewers, can you just tell us what biodiesel is? What is it?
It's a product. What they basically essentially are doing is they're using the byproducts from different facilities, maybe fast food restaurants, and they're converting the say vegetable oil over to a biodiesel to use to run in cars and so forth, just to I guess for environmental impact, lower the amount of waste.
It's to create a clean fuel, but what a mess today.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yes.
And the explosion, I know, we were talking earlier, Chief, that one of the lids from that methanol tank flew pretty far.
We had an extremely large explosion, and the lid for that entire tank went a good probably 2 blocks.
Wow.
So.
All right. Thank you very much for filling us in on the details. We appreciate it.
All right.
And we have William Snyder, Martin County Sheriff, also the Deputy Chief with Martin County Fire Rescue, Dan Hirschberger, filling us in on the details, hoping that in the next hour or so, they'll have an even better handle on this, already saying that it's laid down pretty much when we had those big dump trucks that went by, just part of the process of trying to contain this and building that dike around it. Now, talking about another issue that has affected a lot more than just the businesses in this area has been the traffic. I can tell you, living in Western Palm City, it was a little bit of a traffic nightmare to get here. We hear Chopper 5 up above. Let's go to Tanya Rogers right now for a live look at the area. It's always congested at this time of day, Tanya.
It's a view of all. We've been watching firefighters really gain control of this. Now, if you look at the screen, the bottom of your screen, you'll see an area. It kind of looks like a very long pool. And you'll see it's kind of like a beige white color. The camera is zooming in right now. That area was all on fire for the past couple of hours, and a bulldozer was coming in and dumping some dirt in that area, and then we've slowly seen that fire go out. But as you can see, that fire still continues. We have seen dozens of firefighters on the scene, some of them standing on the side. There are fire trucks surrounding the facility area, and of course the areas to enter are blocked off. You can see some of the firefighters right there in one of the parking lots there. Right at the top of your screen, you see the bulldozer right now carrying more dirt. As I mentioned, that one area that kind of looked like a very long swimming pool, you've been dumping dirt in there where that was all on fire. You could see the black smoke. You know, when we first went up in the chopper this afternoon, we saw one of the pilots at the airport who told us that when they were flying in, they could see the smoke from about 7,000 feet. They couldn't figure out what was going on when they saw us, and they asked us, and then we told them what was happening. So they could see it from 7,000 feet. You see the bulldozer right now making his way with the dirt, and you see that one area. It's kind of like towards the west side of the property where this fire is now happening. We could see it as soon as we took off. We could also see the smoke as well. Now, traffic has not been the best because we have seen people slowing down, and then other areas were actually shut down in order to gain control of this fire. So very latest on the traffic situation, let's go to Halani Davis.
Hey, Tanya, I tell you what, the phrase rush hour. You may want to take the word rush out of that phrase tonight. Fortunately for us, our saving grace may be that US 1 is open. Traffic moving very, very slow. A lot of onlookers in that area. Also, alternate A1A. We know a lot of you use that. It is still okay to use. We do know for sure, here are the areas you're going to want to avoid. That's eastbound and westbound Salerno Road, Indiantown Street, also northbound and southbound Willoughby Boulevard. Something that we do know, all roads are open except for just these three. We've got Dominica Terrace, Slater, and Whaler Street. One more thing that you may want to keep in mind is southbound Pomeroy Street. We know that's an artery for a lot of you to get home. That is okay to use. And then maybe your best bet, take Canner Highway to Cove Road, and then you'll have to weave your way in through there. If you're at home, this may be the night to stay at home. If you do have to go out, know that you're going to have to pack your patience. If you're on your way home, well, just know that you're going to have plenty of company out there on the roads. Let's go ahead and go back to Kelly Dunn. She's in the field. Kelly, I know you're continually learning some new details. What do you have for us now?
Exactly. Well, Holly, this all started around noon today, and I know the surrounding areas. My mechanic works in the building right over there, and I gave him a quick call to see if he was all right and said he had been evacuated at noon today, as were surrounding businesses, and that included Port Salerno Elementary School. Right now, let's go to News Channel 5's Megan McRoberts to give an update now on the evacuation at that school today. Megan?
Kelly, upwards of 180 students from Port Salerno Elementary School have been brought here to Pinewood Elementary. Port Salerno schools are much closer to the fire. You can even see the smoke from here. So students there in the extended day program were put on buses and evacuated about 1.5 miles west over here to Pinewood Elementary School. And right now, the majority of those students are still here and there inside the cafeteria waiting for their parents to come and pick them up. The principal tells me the district brought in additional staff to help watch those extra students, even using custodians at the school to help traffic control in the parking lot. All students are safe and accounted for. No one has been injured as a result of the fire. Parents of Port Salerno extended day students did receive an automatic call from the school letting parents know their children were bused here and needed to be picked up at Pinewood this afternoon. We did catch up with one parent as he was picking up his daughter.
A little bit scared because I don't know it's close to the school or no. I don't know where is the fire. That's why.
Are you glad that they did this? Are you glad they brought her here?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Now, the principal here tells me there could be parents who still did not listen to that message or even realize at this point yet that the school has been evacuated. So Pinewood will remain open through the evening, making sure parents do have plenty of time to come safely pick up their children. Kelly, back to you.
All right, Megan McRoberts, thank you very much. And again, that evacuation radius has been made smaller, according to the sheriff. It now extends just a couple of blocks on each side of Dominica Terrace, where we are right now, and from Commerce to US 1. So this is a commercial area, not a whole lot of traffic usually, and a lot of busyness after hours, after 5 o'clock. So things will start to quiet down, certainly in this area, but the evacuation zone has been made smaller, which is a good sign. You can imagine what this must have been like for the surrounding businesses and the people that were nearby when the explosion started. Again, this fire at Wiesel Fuel started around noon. Let's go ahead and listen to one of the first 911 calls that was placed.
What is on fire? Methanol.
Southeast.
How many tanks and how large is the tank? One and a 6,000 gallon fuel reactor. Okay, how far is there a hydrant right near there? Yes, they're using the 80 pounder or whatever, the one on wheels. Okay, you got just the tank on fire? Is the building on fire also? Just the tank, out front. Okay, very good. We're going to get somebody right there. If you get people out of there, we'll get people over there as quick as we can.
One of the first calls that was made. We have been throughout the afternoon since this began over the last 5 hours digging into Wiesel Fuel, what this company is about, what its track record is, its safety record. Let's go to Contact 5 investigator Katie Legrone. She's in the studio with the very latest that the investigators have learned today. Katie.
That's right, Kelly. As you mentioned, we have been digging into Wiesel, the company where this fire is burning. The company started in 2007, but moved to its current location in 2011. Now, our cameras visited the plant just prior to that move. The plant takes used vegetable oil and turns it into biodiesel fuel, producing up to 15.8 million gallons of it every year. The Contact 5 investigators have also learned the company was recently fined by both OSHA and the state's Department of Environmental Protection. OSHA hit them with $12,000 in fines 2 years ago. That's when they found 7 serious violations, among them issues with hazardous waste operations. Then DEP fined the company $1,500 late last year. In a handwritten note, the state told the company to improve its housekeeping and that it strongly recommended putting into place safety and compliance training. Now, this is not the first time there's been a fire at the plant. We were there in May 2011 when the facility had a fire at its previous location. It took about 90 minutes for crews to put that fire out. Today's fire has burned 3 times as long. The 2011 fire did not involve fuel tanks. Today's fire, of course, does, burning in at least 4 of the company's 10,000-gallon tanks. Michael, back to you in the studio.
Katie, thank you. And now we go to our chief meteorologist, Steve Weigel. And Steve, of course, on a day like this with a fire like that, wind conditions are a paramount concern for firefighters. What's the situation been now? What will it be on into the evening?
Thankfully, the winds aren't too strong, Michael. It's a sea breeze that's kicked in. These are streamlines. This shows the wind direction as it pushes in along the coastline. Of course, our fire is right around US 1 in Stuart, just south of Witham Field, the airport. And so it's blowing all of this smoke toward Willoughby and toward 76 and Indian Street and back toward 95 right here. Of course, there's Canner Highway 76. So this is an area that's going to have to keep an eye out for smoke tonight. The winds stay light through the overnight hours. Right now, they're 8 miles an hour. They bumped up from 6 earlier. That's at Witham Field, actually, which is just a little north, about a mile north. So all of that smoke blowing slowly toward the west. Shouldn't be too much of an issue as far as wind tonight. I'll have your full forecast, of course, coming up in a few minutes. Now back to Kelly in the field. Kelly.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. And that black plume of smoke, actually a little smaller. It's still billowing, but it seems to be improving. Sheriff says that they're hoping to get things under control. They're really letting it burn itself out, but they're protecting the area around it to keep it from spreading. So we'll continue to keep you updated live out here in the field in Stuart with this fire that has caused a big commotion up on the Treasure Coast today, seen for miles in various counties. We'll have more updates coming up throughout our newscast tonight, and the very latest developments that you need to know about, we'll be sure to push out on the WPTV app, so stay tuned.
All right, Steve, thank you. And we continue following breaking news. Firefighters in Martin County battling a fire at a biodiesel company in Stuart. At one point, the fire was contained, but following 2 explosions, it flared up again. No injuries reported. We'll continue following this. Be back in a moment.